it's very personal to each individual person, but it can be small. It can be very small to start, and bad habits and good habits both snowball. And if you can add more good habits to your day or into your life or into your schedule, the more those will continue to accumulate.
Hi everyone, and welcome. I'm Marie-Blanche, the host of the Student Wellness Project. This is a podcast for students who want to not only survive the semester, but actually thrive. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am so excited for our first episode today. We're going to be tackling a topic that is very central to student life, time management. Time is a student's most precious commodity, well, aside from, the money that we need to pay rent, tuition, groceries, books. But seriously, how many times have you thought to yourself, I just wish I had more time? Whether it's to prepare for a presentation, study for an exam, write an essay, or build an assignment. It's so hard to juggle our priorities like work, school, and extracurriculars. But we have to do it if we want to get this degree one day, right? So today we're going to discuss time management with my fellow student and friend, Natalie. And I knew I wanted to have her on to talk about time management because this summer she actually introduced me to this tool that really changed the way I manage my time. And I felt the benefits over the course of the semester, believe me. So I could think of no better way of starting off this podcast than talking to Natalie. So without further ado, let's just jump into the conversation and I'll catch up with you at the end to unpack what we've learned today and to talk about what's coming up next week. Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here interviewing you today.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Yay. So you are our student for this first episode on time management.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go into the actual details of what time management looks like for you, I thought we could do just a little intro of who you are as a student and outside of university. So I just have a few questions for you about that, and then we'll get into the meat of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so first of all, can you tell me who is Natalie the student? Like what program you're in, what year you're in, even like what courses you're taking, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi, I'm Natalie the student. I'm in my 4th and final year of RTA New Media.
Woo!
I know, I'm so excited. And this semester, I'm only taking 3 courses. I'm taking a video game course on like Unity and designing, a general design course, as well as my thesis.
Ooh, thesis sounds intense.
It is. It's very intense. But so far, so good.
Oh, that's awesome. And what about outside of university? What else occupies your time?
Yeah, so I have a part-time job with the university working in residence. I also stream video game content on Twitch. I'm in XMTC's production of Head Over Heels. I have embroidery and illustration commissions. I'm busy. I'm a busy little bee.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot to juggle all at once. So how is that going right now? And just for listeners, quickly, to give you a frame of reference, we're doing this interview like pretty much at the halfway point of the semester. So yeah, how is it going for you?
It is going well, actually. So my semester is more on an upswing right now. The first half was a little bit rougher. I'm pivoting my thesis to kind of include some different ideas I've been playing around with. And I recently had the opportunity to reorganize some of my priorities to kind of help me get some more time for myself to accomplish my work and school and all that fun stuff.
Ooh, okay. So I'm really interested in that pivoting and reorganizing of your priorities. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Mm-hmm. So listeners, stay tuned if you want to know more about the time management strategies. But I'd like to first travel back in time a bit to before you acquired the time management strategies that you're using right now. So part one of the question would be, when was that? And part two is, what did that look or feel like when you didn't have those time management strategies?
So, part one, probably in high school and my first year of college, I didn't really have any time management strategies. I would just work on something until it's done, and then I would be done. And that wasn't the best way to go about things, especially getting really busy near the end of high school, trying to find a program I want to do post-secondary, and then being in post-secondary and having to juggle a bunch of different responsibilities.
Yeah, university has a lot of deadlines, so I can imagine getting something done. While that might feel great, you also have at the back of your mind the 5 other things that are coming up in the next week or so. Right? So, how were your stress levels back then compared to now?
High. They were so high. I put a lot of pressure on myself to kind of be really good at everything, and time management wasn't one of the things I thought I needed to be good at, because I thought, oh, well, I can just finish my assignment really quickly and just be done, and I don't need to manage my time. I just should know how to do that already. And I did not know how to do that.
Can you tell me, academically, do you feel like that had an impact?
I think it did. Not so much on my grades or really my performance in those courses, but I faced burnout really, really quickly, probably a month or two into university and college. So it was really hard to kind of keep my motivation up and keep working at the level that I was while feeling so burnt out and not knowing what I could really even do about that.
Yeah. Okay, so for those who don't know you, you did some time in college before you went to university, right?
I did. I did a year of community college and then decided to switch over to my current university.
Yeah, and what were you studying in?
I was studying digital media and graphic design, and then continued to study that, but at a university level instead.
Yeah, okay. So what strategies did you develop to get out of that burnout? So this is the moment we've all been looking for. We're taking notes, no pressure.
Oh my god.
So are there apps, strategies, or tools that you use that have really helped you along the way?
Yes, let me tell you about this app. So we've discussed this in our personal lives before, but I use a program called Toggl, Toggl, and it's just in your web browser. You can also get an app for your phone, and it tracks how long I spend on certain projects. So this has really helped me schedule my time, because I know it takes me 1 hour to make a blog post for a class, but it takes me 4 hours to write an essay. So now I know in the future, if I have those 2 assignments again, I need to set aside roughly 5 hours.
Yeah.
So that's been really, really useful. It's also kind of helped me to keep on track. If I'm timing, I am working on my thesis right now, I'm not checking my phone, because then I feel guilty, because no, I'm lying to my schedule. I'm working on thesis.
Yeah, and so since you talked to me about it, I started using it as well. And there's a desktop application too, if people, I don't know, sometimes I feel like my phone is so cluttered with apps. So I downloaded the PC app, and it also has a Pomodoro timer on it, which was what I was using before, and then kind of manually tracking in my paper planner what I was working on and how much time. So learning about Toggl really helped me. It combines the tracking and the Pomodoro. So I love knowing that in 15 minutes I get to have a break, and I don't need to be on for 4 hours straight. I can just take a step back and start again in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So that's been so very helpful. I have been known to not take breaks because when you're in the zone, you don't want to pause. So I've been using my phone's and laptop's reminders function and Google Calendar to kind of visualize my time and like what I need to be doing. And I also have a water reminder app that goes off every hour to remind me to drink water because it was something that I was really good at. But as I got more busy, the further I got into university, water's not what I'm thinking about all the time. So it's nice to have that like undercurrent, that subtle reminder like, hey, you should be drinking water. I was like, oh, you're so right. I should.
I have a body that I need to take care of.
Right? Like, before, like, I had time management strategies. My time management, quote unquote, was finish the work. And that's it. I didn't set aside time for myself to take care of me, to, like, spend time with my friends. I would just, like, try to fit that in when I could. Yeah. But setting aside that time has actually really helped me to take better care of my body and take better care of my mind and see my friends and not be exhausted when I see them, because that's no fun.
So important for resilience. So kind of looking at it from a meta level, is there anything specific that you do at the beginning of the semester? Like for someone who's just starting, or maybe for the upcoming winter semester, do you have any strategies? Like when the semester begins, you get all your course outlines. What do you do then?
Yeah. So after we get all the course outlines, I have so many calendars, but they really help. I have a paper calendar and then also my Google Calendar that I've been using, and I'll block out time for when each assignment is due and kind of color code the courses. So on my calendar right now, I have pink highlighter for work and yellow highlighter for school and orange for appointments and blue for fun stuff. And it helps me visualize, like, the time that I'm spending on each thing. Because if I see that there's one day that it's all yellow highlighters, like, that's a busy day. I'm going to need to take the day before to, like, rest up, make sure that I'm ready for this. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That, like, warms my heart a little bit. Like, time management, planning that time for self-care kind of helps prevent those other behaviors that we don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your not monthly, you have your semester calendar, and then what's the next step that you take? Are you looking at it monthly, weekly? I'm assuming daily in some sense, but
yeah.
What's the next smallest bit?
Yeah, a lot of times daily, just because I need to know what I'm doing for the day. But typically, I like to think of things as a 2-week process. Okay. So I know that I have this lecture today, and then something's due on Thursday, and something's due next Wednesday. So I'll take these 2 weeks to kind of get that all sorted so that it's not Sunday night. I'm like, oh, wait, I totally forgot that I have something due on Monday. So I try to look that week ahead. Yeah. And that's been helpful. But yeah, making sure that I have everything listed for the coming months is really important, because I would hate to find out November 2nd that there's an essay November 3rd that I didn't write down.
That's always something that we dread.
Right.
And so from the classes that you said you're taking right now, like, they seem pretty hands-on, but I'm guessing maybe in the first years of your program, you maybe had a mix of assignments and exams?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as I proceeded through with my program, things got a lot more hands-on. They were a lot more building and assignment focused as opposed to paper and essay focused, as it was in the first year. So I've written my fair share of essays, and boy howdy, they take a lot of time.
Yeah. So can you share a bit of tips, like, for planning your time, if it's an assignment or an essay or maybe an exam, if you remember those?
Yeah, since I'm so assignment based, we don't really have many exams. We just have these huge final projects, re-thesis. But yeah, when I had to write an essay, I would work backwards from the due date. So I know that it's due December 3rd. So I want to be done this by November 29th, basically. And just kind of take a week to finish each project, whether I do it all on a Monday or I spread out those couple hours throughout the week, but have my outline done one week and my research done the next week, and then do my first rough draft and then like my final copy, so that I'm not just sitting down for the 9 hours it would take to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did in first year. I would just sit down and be like, all right, essay time, and then I just wouldn't see the sun. And that's not good.
Yeah, and when you do that, you kind of have that stress of like, I need to produce something great right now.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
And if you can create something great in 9 hours of extreme focus, that's awesome. But I can't do that. I need breaks and other things to do during that time.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it might be useful once in a while, but probably not the most sustainable strategy.
Yeah, it's not what you want to have as your habit. Like, you're allowed to change habits. Like, it's okay if your habits aren't not great or they aren't working for you, but you don't know any new ones. You can change those.
Yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort.
Oh, yeah.
But
it's worth it. Let me tell you, it's worth it.
Oh, that's awesome. So, can you tell me how you acquired this strategy? Like, talking about making it a habit and everything. Was there someone who helped you along the way? How did that come about?
Yeah, so when I was in my college program, I actually had one of my professors suggest Toggl, and at that point we were using it as a tool to understand like the balance of work and payment for freelance design work. So it was really, really important for our field. And each week we would kind of present our journal entry of what we did on Toggl, how much time we spent on things, what was surprising, what was expected, and stuff like that. And so this assignment basically got me in the habit of using Toggl. I was like, well, this is so easy. And I just press a button and I can just know how long it takes me to do things. And it just kind of stuck. But for a lot of my friends in the program, it didn't stick with them. They had other strategies that they wanted to use. But for me, I was really lucky that, yeah, this just clicks for me.
Yeah, and I don't feel like a prof would necessarily have suggested it. Like, we don't get that from profs. Just like, oh, hey, by the way, even in first year, they know they're teaching a first year course.
Oh, yeah.
Yet there's no like, hey, little tip, guys, like, this is the first essay or assignment that you're doing for my class. So I just wanted to share with you, like, here's a strategy to help you along the way.
Here are the expectations. It's like, no. Write something about Marshall McLuhan. And I say, okay.
Yeah, they don't tell you, like, this, like, maybe your first essay is going to take 9 hours to write, but as you get more used to it, maybe it only take you 6. It's like, just do it, and I'll give you a mark on how well you did, not caring about any outside factors.
Right, what you had to go through to produce this essay.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that prof who taught you about Toggl.
Right? Shout out to Terry. Just so good.
We love Terry. Okay. So you've talked about the importance of finding time for yourself in all of this. Can you tell me how you schedule it, how much time you schedule for it, and what do you do during that time?
Yeah, so at first it felt kind of silly and weird, but I scheduled time off in my calendar. I would just like carve out blocks in my Google Calendar and make it like a different color. I was like, this is Natalie's time. Natalie can choose whatever she wants to do, but this is her time. Like, I'll turn on Do Not Disturb on my emails. Like, I'm not answering any work calls right now. Like, this is time for me. Yeah. And at first it felt silly. It's like, I should just know how to take time for me. But when you're really busy, you forget that you need to take time for you unless you write it down sometimes. So I wrote it down, and I was able to hang out with my friends in those times, or it's like, hey, I kind of need extra time for this assignment, so I'll work on that now. And it was just nice to know that I had time for myself throughout the week. Like, my Monday, Tuesday are extremely busy. It just happened to be how my school and work schedule worked out. I'm basically 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I reprioritized, and now it's a lot better. But from the beginning of the semester till now, that's what I was operating under. So it was nice to know that on Wednesday and Thursday, I was able to carve out time just for myself to kind of readjust and get ready for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's really good. So I think sometimes people's challenge is also like, how much time do I need for myself, really? I know that that's something that I struggle with. Like, over the years, I've built up pretty solid barriers and assumptions of like, you know, I need to have all my evenings off. I need to have this time off. So I'm maybe a bit the opposite of you. So for someone like me who has some boundaries, arbitrary boundaries that I've put of like, this is a no work time, and then that stresses me out when I have to work during that no work time. I'm like, what is happening? So can you give a tip to someone like me? Like, how much time do you take for yourself? What does that look like?
Yeah, so for each person, obviously it's going to be different.
Yes.
But what I try to do is, I'm not big on math, but I calculate how much time I'm spending on school and on work. So I work 12 hours a week, and my classes are all 3 hours long, so that's 9 hours a week. So I have that time chunk, and I want my time where I can relax and be by myself, work on my fun hobbies, see my friends. I want that time to equal the same amount. And I'll set a time frame for that. So on Monday, Tuesdays, I work 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So every other day of the week, I consider it an 8 a.m. to an 8 p.m. So it doesn't quite matter what I'm doing in the late evenings, as long as I kind of know those time frames. So I know that I also have 9 hours of fun free time during the week, and then my evenings are my own for whatever I need to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for this.
Hey, of course.
And then to kind of wrap it up, is there anything that we didn't cover, any advice that you'd like to give someone who has not yet found a time management strategy that works for them?
Yeah. I didn't know that I needed one until I got one, and instantly my life just felt so much better. I made really small changes. I used Toggle, and it's just a button press. I put things in a calendar, and that's a button press. Like, you don't need to have the latest reminder app and a planner and a timer and then 3 calendars. You just kind of need to look at your schedule and see what's missing. If you're missing free time, how can you balance that? If you're missing work time, how can you balance that? It's very personal to each individual person, but it can be small. It can be very small to start. And bad habits and good habits both snowball. And if you can add more good habits to your day or into your life or into your schedule, the more those will continue to accumulate.
Yeah, so true. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that piece of advice.
Of course.
Definitely going to keep it in mind myself, as well as I hope our listeners will keep it in mind as well. And thank you for taking the time to join us today.
No, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Yay. I'm so glad you had fun too. And best of luck on the rest of the semester.
Thank you. Have fun producing a podcast.
Oh my God. I am really having fun. Thanks. So today I had the pleasure of talking to Natalie about time management strategies that can make the semester a little more manageable. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. First, we talked about how working on one thing until it's done is not the best time management strategy. But seriously, we learned about how important it is to cultivate good time management strategies to stay on top of things and be able to take a breath here and there. Then Natalie told us about Toggle, which I've linked in the show notes. This tool tracks the time you spend on assignments and studying sessions, making it easier for you to predict how much time you need for those projects in the future. It also helps you stay focused and accountable. I talked about Pomodoro timers as well, and I realized that I didn't explain the Pomodoro technique as well as I could have, so here it is. Using a Pomodoro timer is kind of like doing a HIIT workout. So you're going to be working for 25 minutes straight without any distractions, leaving that phone somewhere else, and then you're going to have a 5-minute break. And during that break, you should get up and either stretch, get some water or a snack, and then you start the cycle all over again. And I found that Pomodoro and taking breaks really help my stamina, so I can work longer without getting tired. And I hope it'll help you too. Then Natalie told us about how she preps for a new semester. She compiles all the deadlines from her syllabus into one master calendar. Then she works backwards from these due dates to establish when she should start working on each assignment to kind of spread the work over a few weeks and to avoid spending a 9-hour day on an essay. Then on a weekly basis, she color codes how she spends her time to better visualize how much time she spends on school, work, appointments, and fun stuff or personal time. She tries to create a balance between the time she spends in class and at work, and the time she spends resting or having fun. And we talked about how important it is to intentionally carve out time in our schedules to see friends, family, or just have a good time on our own. We are human after all. And that's it for this episode, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the episode and leave me a comment. And next week, we're going to be talking about time management with a pro, meaning a psychologist. We're going to talk about many things, including procrastinating, why we do it, and how to avoid it. If you don't want to miss that episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. And that's it for today. See you next week.